Murphy Austin Adams Schoenfeld LLP, focusing on business law and commercial litigation, is proud to support Rob on the Road Region Rising. More information available at murphyaustin.com.
Coming up next, Californians are all too familiar with the harsh reality of wildfire and other natural disasters. Karen Baker with the California Office of Emergency Preparedness joins me to walk us through the statewide life-saving campaign, Listos California. Listos means ready. We'll help you get there, starting now.
And now, Rob on the Road, exploring Northern California.
Joining me now is a California humanitarian, Karen Baker. It is so good to see you.
Oh, it's so great to see you, Rob. I bump into you all the time. It's wonderful to spend time on the show with you.
Well, thank you for being here. And boy, does this really apply to any situation that we find ourselves in California, correct?
Oh, everyone needs to know about Listos California. So we're so excited to be on your show to really let all of California know about this very important emergency preparedness campaign.
What do people need to know? Tell us what it is and what people need to know.
I'm going to tell you right off the bat. So,
okay.
First of all, this was a great idea out of Governor Newsom and the legislature when they really realized, I think after the Camp Fire, that there are so many vulnerable people that really need to be educated about what to do to really be prepared in times of natural disaster. Then, of course, COVID came along and it became even more important. But the original vision in the trailer bill, AB 72, when the governor just got inaugurated, his vision was, let's set aside $50 million to ensure that 1 million of our most vulnerable Californians, those that are our older Californians, those are people in poverty, people with disabilities, non-English speakers, other diverse populations, let's make sure all of them can get and meet a general level of readiness. Let's really be prepared as a community, whether it's for wildfires, floods, earthquakes, and now COVID. So that was the vision.
How prepared? Prepared, how so?
Yeah. Well, what we did is we've done a ton of research to answer that question. Because what we did, first of all, is really go out and listen to people and find out, first of all, are people interested? Do they know that they have to be prepared? And what we found out from a great research partner, EMC Research out of Oakland, was that 88% of the people that we were targeting knew that disaster preparedness was important. So it wasn't about convincing people that, you should care about being prepared. The question is how to deal with some of their concerns. They said, the reason I'm not getting prepared is it's scary, it's expensive, and it's time consuming. So what we had to think about is how can we meet people where they're at? How can we figure out how to produce a preparedness campaign that addresses those issues and will really reach the most vulnerable and get them really truly ready to meet any disaster. There's all kinds of reasons why people decided it was either scary or overwhelming. And it's often because the material that they would be able to secure from either FEMA or from American Red Cross or other organizations that are kind of in the preparedness business was either overwhelming, it wasn't graphically, presented really easily to people. It certainly wasn't in their language. And one of the things that we do is we present materials in 6 languages: English, Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Korean, and even Hmong in some communities. So what we're finding is materials need to be developed, but they need to be, meeting people where they're at in their native language.
That's so good, because in a time of crisis, and part of Listos California's goal is to be prepared when that crisis hits.
Absolutely.
But for people who may not be, I went all through your website, through your literature, and it is incredibly, in my opinion, easy to comprehend. It is so well formed and needed the checklist, the list to go down to be prepared.
Yeah.
And in California and in this world today, it's crucial to have a plan, an emergency preparedness plan. It saves lives.
Yeah.
It also makes us better neighbors, because when I went to your website and put together my plan for emergency, I then began to look out much more than I already do to all of my neighbors that I know, but to make sure that they would have a plan in place. And that also helps the spirit of your community get tighter.
No, that is so true. And I love that about you, Rob. I mean, you're definitely the community guy. And we need lots of Robs out there. We need people to not only understand the 5 steps of preparedness, but then the 5th step is to share it with neighbors and friends, because there's so many more people that need this information that may not, have access to it.
But we need guides, and that's what y'all are. You're the guide, and all we have to do is go through what you've laid out. What are those 5 steps?
Yeah, let me run through them really quickly. First of all, you need to get alerts. There's a great website called calalerts.org.
It's great.
CALERTS.org. So calalerts.org. And you can go onto this site here at Cal OES and look up your county and immediately click through and be added onto the alert and warning list of your county. Or if you are interested in multiple counties, maybe you have an aging mom or dad in another county. So you actually want to be aware of what's going on in Siskiyou or Butte. You can, sign up for multiple counties. So I think that's really step number 1. You have to get the alerts so that you know what's going on in your community from a disaster.
And that website again?
calalerts.org.
Okay. All right. Number 2.
Secondly, you need to make a plan to protect your people. And what that means is, first of all, sitting down and writing down, who are my people? Who are the people that either my children, my parents, neighbors, friends, that I really want to make sure that I know their email, their phone number, their address, if I need to get in contact with them in a disaster, right? Like if my kids are at school, do I know how to contact them at school? And do I have it on this piece of paper that I'm going to put in my go bag that's coming up in a second? List all of that down. And then another step under really doing step 2 is really figuring out how are you going to evacuate from your community, and printing out a picture of a map of your community, right? Because maybe, we'll lose broadband connectivity depending on the disaster. So what you'll want to do, and if you're like me, maybe you've forgotten how to drive a lot of places without having your phone steering you. But you need to have that paper map that can show a couple different ways out of the neighborhood, right? And to nearby freeways and highways. So that's really important to have those exits. And also be sure to list a contact person out of town that all your family members and friends realize you can call into. Well, and another real typical thing that happens to all of us in times of disaster is we get, panicked, right? You get a little mini traumatized moment going on, and you don't remember, where did I put that phone number, or my phone isn't working? What do I do? That's why that pre-work is so important, that preparedness work, and writing that down on this sheet, folding it up and putting it in your go bag. So you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to think a bit about it at all. So that's really important.
And real quickly, before we move on to the other steps,
Yeah.
I want everybody to watching just to sort of take a breath and realize that I know all of this sounds scary, okay? But when you walk into things that you are fearful of, it sets you free. So when you have a plan, then you have a purpose, and then you have a path when things happen. And can't tell you how many people I met who lost everything after a fire, one fire or another, or a certain catastrophe. And they didn't have but a second to get ready. And if they had that go bag, they would have so much more than they have today. So just wanted to say that, and then now let's keep with the list.
I love what you just said for so many reasons. because these kind of preparedness steps should make you feel calmer, going to make you feel like I've got things handled, my family's safe, I'm good to go. So I don't have to worry about it.
Right, and listos means ready. Listos doesn't mean panic, it means ready.
It's exactly right. Which takes us to step number 3, which is packing that go bag. And here's a go bag that we hand out. This one is in Chinese, but you're looking for a sack about this size. It can be, your kid's old backpack from last year. It can be a shopping bag. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But what you'll want to do is be able to have a bag about that size that you're going to put some important documents into. So
what's in that?
A Ziploc bag, that you could put things like your medical information, right? Your insurance information, other key documents, immigration related paperwork, if that is something that you have, maybe your passport, other critical information, you're going to zip that up. You're going to also pack some other simple things like $1 bills and $5 bills. Often in a disaster, it kind of turns to a cash economy in the short term. And so it's just smart to have some, small amounts of cash, but some cash that you'd put also in your go bag. You also want to obviously put a mask these days. That's really going to be important. You might be exiting during a wildfire. You might be with COVID going on. That's going to be obviously really critical. So there's things you're going to pre-pack in your go bag, and then there's the things that you're going to add to the go bag as you're leaving out the door. And that's, your car keys, your wallet, your computer, your charger, items like this. And all of this stuff is listed in these great disaster ready guides that have all of the lists of information of what you need that is available on our website at listoscalifornia.org. So,
and that may look like a ton of information, and it is, but it is broken down. As remember, Karen said, it's for many different languages, and there's many different lists. But the bottom line is, it's there for you, California. It's there to help you live and to live freely today. It's not, we all plan for many people plan for their death. They do their will, they do their estate and all that stuff, but we don't plan to live.
I love that. That's our new tagline.
No, we have to plan to live.
And as you can tell, everything I've talked about so far has not cost anything. You're talking about Xeroxing some documents, making copies of some documents, a Ziploc bag, and an old backpack. And even if you have to save those few dollar bills over time, just do it over time. It may be that it might take you 3 months to put away, $20.
Right.
So this is not just a plan for those folks that happen to have, they can, whip out a $20 bill today. This is for everyday folks, everyday people that can, squirrel away an extra $1 a week and just add it to their go bag and be adding to their sense of preparedness and sense of safety.
You have been the Chief Service Officer since 2006.
Yeah.
Started with Governor Schwarzenegger, then you went to Governor Brown, and now you have joined, and this is consecutive terms, for you, as well as what we're talking about, with Governor Gavin Newsom's office. What have you learned about Californians and about people in times of disaster?
Yeah.
Especially now that you are helping prepare people to be ready for them.
Well, first of all, I think what I've learned is that we have amazing, first responders that are incredible, firefighters, law, et cetera, that do great work. But in a disaster, the person that's going to be the person that is probably going to pull you out and help you is going to be your neighbor. That's going to be the person that's going to have to assist you and that you're going to be assisting, right? And I think what I've also learned, especially with this campaign, part of the architecture of this campaign was to have the money go to all local nonprofits, community-based organizations and faith-based organizations that are the ones on the ground that know these community members the best. They're the trusted brokers. So what you have is, instead of a campaign that would be like a state campaign that would be rolled out, you have instead said, okay, hey, Fresno County, hey, Alameda, hey, Los Angeles, San Diego, Imperial, how would you want to educate your community members that fall in these vulnerability categories? How would you want to do it? And what's been so interesting and exciting to see is how they all do it differently and in a way that speaks to their community,
That's so important.
And what's so important, if government's doing their job right, they provide the resources, and I would argue a little bit of guidance, but then get out of the way and let these local nonprofits that know their people, know their community, design and create the right mechanisms of connection, right? So that they know the best way to grab the seniors in Woodland, or if you need to grab, and educate people with disabilities in Alameda, what is the best, format for that? And that might look really different than how you do it in Tulare, and so that's where I think the genius of this campaign is, in the flexibility of it and in the design that we're going to do it with CBOs. And then we're also going to be utilizing CERT, Community Emergency Response Teams, the Listos program out of Santa Barbara. It was the first program that was in Spanish, an 8-hour family preparedness, that so much of our materials were created thinking about their great model. And also AmeriCorps members that are on the ground with us and with these CBOs. So you take all those assets together and all those partners, and that reach is quite extensive. We thought we would be maybe hitting 1 million. We're well over 12 million people that have been educated and connected with either COVID-19 information or the more extensive disaster preparedness information, which is, well over 1 out of 4 Californians. I mean, it's a phenomenal success story.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, thank God for these great nonprofits and communities that are there for the members that, of their community, that they're the ones doing the work. All we're doing is going, here's some good creative, maybe this makes sense to you. Here's some ideas, but they're the ones that know how to lift it up and to deliver it in a way that speaks to their community. We deliver these 5 steps. We can literally save lives for people. That is such an exciting charge for these nonprofits, and they get very excited about this work.
Yeah, it's a big deal when you say that about saving lives. And let's get to 4 and 5.
Yeah. Back to 4. 4 was just the importance of creating a stay box. A stay box is important when you're in a disaster where you actually shouldn't leave your home. There might be a flood where that's the case. You never know what the situation is, but you might be in a situation where there's no electricity, you don't have water that's running, and you have got to be able to take care of yourself for at least 3 days, maybe 3 to 5 days. And so there's, a few things that we suggest putting in one of those big plastic bins and just toss it in your garage. And one of it's 3 gallons of water per person for your household. So, when you go to the store, grab, 1 extra gallon each time you go. So you might be building your stay box over time. You also need, obviously, food and with a can opener. So whether it's, a tuna or vegetables or things that you don't have to necessarily heat up, but that you can eat and survive on, protein bars, etc. And you'll want to put that in the stay box, along with things like, flashlights, etc. And if you have pets, you have to think about your pets.
Okay. And then number 5?
Number 5 is tell your family and friends. I think that's probably the one that I think we added just at the tail end, because it's not about your personal preparedness, but our entire community needs to be prepared, right? And so we have to see it as our job, our role, our duty to really be there for others and help them get prepared. So maybe you have that neighbor across the street that you haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, and check in with them and see if you can pass on the 5 tips for them, or just print out the disaster ready guide from our website. And like I said, it's in 6 languages. You'll be able to immediately put it to work, have it an activity for your family. It's a really kind of fun guide, if I can show you this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It opens up, and you see the kind of really vibrant graphics
Yeah.
that are there, and checklists, and it's really actually really quite kind of fun to do with your family as an activity.
That's awesome. And then keep refreshing on it every month or so. Go through that and make sure you're up to date with it in your family and with those that you love, and make sure that nothing's expired.
That is so important. I love that you added that. That is so true. Spot on.
You know, there is a very deep and real psychological effect of not being prepared for something that many of us aren't even aware of. And we don't realize it until we need it. But we also don't realize how freeing it is to take care of it before we need it. And there's a lot of clutter in our brains. And in this day and age where, especially in 2020, where we've had to learn to expect the unexpected, you would be so surprised how much clutter comes away from your brain just by having a go bag or a stay box. I cannot tell you the freedom that comes with that. And it's a simple act, but it's a profound freedom that you begin to feel. It's so strange because I did it and I felt the effect.
That is so great to hear. I can't agree with you more, and you're our favorite ambassador.
Well, I also want to ask you, with all said that we've talked about, are you encouraged?
Oh, you know what's funny? I really am. I get to go out, and whether it's going to migrant camps in Davis and educating farm workers about how they need to be prepared, or whether it's sitting down with seniors, or whether it's with families, it doesn't matter the group of folks that I've met with. People are hungry for this. They are absolutely want to be on top of it. And because we're finally, presenting it in a way that isn't scary, that isn't expensive, that isn't time consuming, they get that empowered feeling. So for me, it's just an honor to be a part of such an important campaign. And one things I will let you know that is so important that we've learned is the main reason someone chooses to get prepared is because they've often lived through a disaster. And now all of California is living through this disaster of COVID-19. And what we're seeing is a much more significant appetite for preparedness. Mm-hmm. Because now they can relate. We all have a common reference point, right? That says, wow, I really need to be prepared, and how can I go about doing that? So that's what's very inspiring to me.
I love that. We are in a world, particularly in this country, where so much that we see is intentionally meant to divide. Yeah. But if we take away all of that and think about need, and you talk about all the different groups that you went and spoke to, and when you forget what divides us and you think of what we all need ways to survive, and we all are desperate for hope. And right now in this day where we need hope and inspiration, one thing you can do to generate that in yourself is to take action steps to be prepared to secure yourself and others. And you will find freedom and hope in that in a time that feels kind of hopeless. But we will get through this. We will.
We'll get past it, and we'll reinvent things about our families, about our neighborhoods, about the way we work. And it's difficult to see it as an opportunity because there's so much pain and unknown. And And I know that that's really challenging for so many people. But there is reinvention, there's energy, that comes from finding a new way. Mm-hmm. And we just hope that part of everyone's time during this time is to be part of the Listos California movement. And go to the website, get the guide. We also have great materials for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their caregivers. We've got materials for public health emergencies and guides, all kinds of great stuff that we really want people to have access to, and it's going to be in your language and it's going to feel comfortable. So that's what we want you to get out there and get prepared.
This is something we can do. This is something that is completely accomplishable. And also, don't spend too much time getting ready to get ready. Just get ready. Just do it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Karen Baker with Cal OES, and which is the California Office of Emergency Services.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I just adore you. And
I love you too. You're just the best.
It's great. Thanks for your great spirit.
It's been great to see you this week right here on Rob at Home. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Murphy Austin Adams Schoenfeld LLP, focusing on business law and commercial litigation, is proud to support Rob on the Road, Region Rising. More information available at murphyaustin.com.